Over the moon, quite literally, is the Vikram lander, and in preparation for Chandrayaan 3 to come to fruition and achieve what was not achieved, or perhaps that last most important step. That's what we are now going to count down to from the 17th of August, that's today, till the 23rd of August, 5:30 p.m. That's when the Vikram lander will attempt the soft landing at the Atkins Basin of the South Pole of the moon. Never before has a landing been attempted by any other nation other than India in that region, the Atkins Basin, and perhaps second time we will get it right faster than any other nation in the world. Fingers crossed for that. But the separation went as planned.
This is actually a very complex activity, and we are happy that it is happened smoothly without any hitch. Major milestone, I would say, this one.
Yes, from 6 days from now, India is all set to script itihas or history, because India is inching closer to that journey to make the soft landing on the surface of the moon. On the 23rd of August, Chandrayaan 3 Vikram lander will begin its final descent to make the touchdown on the moon. And what a moment that will be, ladies and gentlemen. And this time around, they have learned from the mistakes of the last time around. There is the fuzzy logic that will arrest the sudden acceleration of speed. That means if you're driving a car at 60 kilometers and suddenly you go on a descent or downhill, the car accelerates on its own, doesn't it? You need to brake, or you need a system that will continue. If you're in cruise mode, then the brakes will apply themselves and they'll stay. The car will remain at 60 kilometers per hour. So that's what's been added this time around as a facet into the Vikram lander. And of course, the legs need to be strong. That's a core workout principle. It's not just the upper body. You need muscle on the legs, strong foundations. So the legs of the Vikram lander are also stronger this time to withstand perhaps a speed of more than 0.5 kilometers per second. That's the ideal speed it should have when it attempts that soft landing. So, but what was critical today and important today is that the Chandrayaan 3 achieved a significant milestone of the lunar in its lunar exploration journey. The Vikram lander at exactly 1:15 p.m. made that successful detachment from the propulsion module, and it's now going to do the orbit, and at 4 p.m. on Friday it's going to break away from the current orbit and change its trajectory to get closer to the moon. India's mission Moon, the important aspect, and it's a nail-biting journey, amazing visuals. It's the final countdown as it will come down, ladies and gentlemen. But look at this, it's cheaper than Chandrayaan 2 by about 300 crore. But it's not lighter, it's the same weight, but the orbiter is already there. So that's why that cost has been cut. The journey is a total of 42 days. The rover's life is 1 lunar day, that is 14 Earth days. So between the Earth and the Moon itself, this is the time gap. Imagine our scriptures talk about the concept where 1 second is equal to 1,000 years on Earth, but 1 second elsewhere in space. But the distance covered by the Chandrayaan 3 is 3.84 lakh kilometers. The distance between Earth and the Moon, the journey to the Moon took off on the 14th of July, and it began its journey from Sriharikota. Then, ladies and gentlemen, the milestone, if you look at the various milestones that we have to look at, it took off simultaneous ignition of 2 boosters. That's what the journey, the way it took out. 2nd of August, it inserted itself. Core stage was ignited about 113 seconds into the height as far as the journey to the moon was concerned. Then both S-200 boosters burning for about 134 seconds. And then the separation occurs at 137 seconds. This is the entire journey. Payload separates at an altitude of 115 kilometers above the planet. The payload separates at about 217th second post-launch, exactly as it was planned. The payload separates, and then thereafter the journey continues. What happens is what happens is, as the separation of the propulsion module separates, then comes the entire phase of swinging from one orbit, that is the Earth's orbit, and entering into the Moon's orbit. So that also happens. Let's try and understand this. So the way is it parted? The lander and the propulsion modules actually separated. And when they separated, this is what happened earlier in the day. These modules now on separate journeys. They'll continue in the same orbit till about 4 p.m. tomorrow evening, when the 5th orbit will start, and that will be closer to the surface of the Moon. The separation of the modules is in orbit. Lander is on its most crucial journey. The Vikram lander is carrying the Pragyaan rover, and it will attempt landing on the 23rd of this month. The attempt will be to soft land on the Moon's south side, the South Pole region, and that's where the largest crater, the Atkins Basin, is. A series of complex braking maneuvers is what will reduce its speed, which is about 2.62 kilometers per second right now. It's got to brake, decelerate within minutes to about 0.5 kilometers per second. That's the speed, but that's still considerable. So there will be reverse thrusters also that will fire. The rover named Pragyaan will then roll off the lander. Then the Pragyaan will then explore the nearby regions, the lunar surface. It will gather images to be sent back to Earth. It will also gather samples. There's a reason why it's the Atkins Basin. The Atkins Basin perhaps is the largest crater, and the possibility of getting two of soil samples, the crust and the mantle, not the core, but the crust and the mantle of the Moon. There can be samples that can be recovered, and we can know what kind of rare minerals are found there. Is there not just small blocks of ice, but perhaps the possibility of large bodies of water, frozen perhaps, but are they possible there? That's what's important. The life of the Pragyaan rover is only 14 days, Earth days, one lunar day. The moment it's night, the sensors will freeze, they'll stop functioning, and the rover will become dysfunctional. So that's the time we have to collect these samples. But most critically, the Vikram Ranger has to land on its feet. Now let's tell you what the lander Vikram will do. It does spectropolarimetry of the habitable planet Earth, and it will also investigate spectral and polarimetric measurements. It will help in investigating spectral and polarimetric measurements. Radio anatomy, Rambha, that is the radio anatomy of the moon-bound. So what it will do is measure the near surface plasma density, radio anatomy of the moon-bound hypersensitive ionosphere and atmosphere. That's what it will do. Then the next aspect is it will study the gas and the plasma environment. CHASTE is Chandra's surface physical experiment. It will measure the thermal properties and surface temperature. And ILSA, that is, it will measure the seismicity around the landing site. So what is the seismic activity that is present on the Moon's surface? All these are never before learnings that we will have. LRA, it's a passive experiment to understand the dynamics of the Moon, that is laser retroreflector array, that's LRA. Then multiple functions of the Vikram lander, and it's got mapping sensors, and it's also sending images back of the Earth's, of the Moon's surface as it is looking at itself, setting itself to land. Meanwhile, the Pragyaan rover, what will it do? Alpha particle X-ray, APXS, X-ray spectrometer. This will look for elements in the lunar soil. What kind of elements are present? What is their make and mix? Also, LIBS, assess the chemical and elemental composition. Laser-induced breakdown spectroscope. That's what it will do. So, multiple functions. The Pragyaan rover also now has got the ability to dig, scrape, and travel a longer distance across the Atkins Basin, cover more surfaces, and also navigate perhaps some inundations and ebbs and troughs there as far as the surface is concerned. This is the overall inner halo, outer halo of the entire universe, the Antariksh that we are seeing generic pictures. Earlier in the day, soon as ISRO confirmed the separation exactly at 1:15 p.m., we had the Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh, the MOS Science and Technology, speaking with us, speaking to me. Listen into this conversation. डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह हमारे साथ हैं। नमस्ते सर, जय हिंद। मैं आनंद नरसिम्हन बोल रहा हूँ। बहुत बहुत बधाई, इसरो ने औपचारिक तरीके से पुष्टि कर दी है
आपको। आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई है। एक आई थिंक वन ऑफ द लास्ट क्रिटिकल टेस्ट व्हिच वाज लेफ्ट टू बी कंप्लीटेड। तो आखिरी ये पड़ाव था, आखिरी मरहला, एंड सारी दुनिया इस पे नजर रखे हुए थी। एंड अब कहने की जरूरत नहीं है, द नेक्स्ट डेस्टिनेशन इज मून।
जी, अगला तो चांद है, लेकिन इसके बाद का ही सबसे क्रिटिकल है। उसके लिए क्या आपकी बार कॉन्फिडेंस है कि विक्रम लैंडर सही तरीके से लैंड करेगा? अब थोड़ा शायद टांगे और स्ट्रांग हो गई हैं पिछली बार से।
बिल्कुल नहीं, टांगे भी स्ट्रांग हुई है, इरादा भी स्ट्रांग हुआ है, और बाकी के भी नट बोल्ट पूरे स्ट्रांग है। क्या है कि एक तो इसको थोड़ा सा और ज्यादा इसमें पहले की तुलना में कुछ और एक एडिशन भी हैं, पिछले अनुभव से कुछ सीखा है। और दूसरा ये भी है कि पिछली बार पूरा का पूरा वहां पर लैंड करने का था, जिसके कारण थोड़ा सा आखिरी समय में थोड़ा सा एक विघ्न आया। अब चूंकि वो कुछ एक एक्सरसाइज पहले से कंप्लीट हो चुकी थी, तो इसलिए उतनी लाइबिलिटी भी नहीं रहेगी इसके ऊपर। और इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि ये 100% हमें विश्वास है कि It will be very uneventful landing.
एक कम से कम 1 साल तक की टेस्टिंग हुई है और आपने बहुत करीब से इसको देखा भी है। तो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पिछली बार से अब की बार में क्या तब्दीली हुई है सर, अगर आप हमारे दर्शकों को बता सकें कि जिसकी वजह से इस बार कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल थोड़ा ज्यादा हाई है?
इस बार भी जो हुआ कोई ऐसी अनहोनी बात नहीं थी, क्योंकि इफ वी गो बाय द वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड और अक्रॉस द कंट्रीज, किसी भी देश की पहली लैंडिंग सक्सेसफुल नहीं रही है
जी।
और उस चीज से हमारा रिकॉर्ड, हमारा कीर्तिमान बाकी देशों की तुलना से बेहतर है। बल्कि यूएसए की फर्स्ट लैंडिंग अनसक्सेसफुल कम से कम 3, 4, 5 बार हुई होगी। हमारे यहाँ ऐसा नहीं, हम तो सेकंड टाइम इटसेल्फ वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड कॉन्फिडेंटली सेफ लैंडिंग। तो उस लिहाज से भी नहीं। और दूसरा ये है कि कई बार पहली बार आपको वहां की सरफेस की, वहां की मिलियो की और वहां की दूसरी एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस का भी पूरी तरह से उस तरह से नहीं हो पाया होता। तो दैट इज रीजन कि किसी भी देश की पहली लैंडिंग उस तरह से नहीं हुई है जैसे उन्होंने प्लान की थी, लेकिन हमारी दूसरी होने वाली है। दूसरा ये है कि हमने सरफेस टू सरफेस इसकी जिस तरह से बाहर से टू स्पीक एक तरह की कोटिंग जैसे कवच बना दिया बाहर से, वो इस तरह से है कि वो आखिरी समय में भी जब ग्रेविटी के पास आएगा तो अपने आपे से बाहर नहीं जाएगा। जैसे आप गाड़ी चला रहे हैं, एक्सीलेटर पे बहुत ज्यादा आपने पैर दबा के रखा है तो एकदम ढलान आ जाती है, तो वही स्पीड एकदम बढ़ जाती है, तो कई बार आप थोड़े से हिल जाते हैं गाड़ी चलाते चलाते के। तो ऐसा नहीं होगा, क्योंकि इसको इस तरह से इसका बैलेंस कर बनाया गया है। और तीसरे कहा कि क्योंकि विक्रम ऑलरेडी वहां है, तो वो भी एक हमारे लिए अब केवल ये बाहर वहां से और निकल आया है जैसे कि, और ये अगले वहां पहुंचेगा।
एक और बात है सर, अमूमन ऐसा होता है कि जहां किसी ने डाइव मारी और साफ रह गया या किसी ने लैंडिंग की, हम लोग उसी जगह को चुनते हैं कि भाई तुम तो वहां लैंड करके हम भी वहीं चले जाते हैं। पर हमने कहा नहीं, हम वहां जाएंगे जहां आज तक कोई नहीं गया। एटकिंस बेसिन हमने चुना है, वो भी साउथ पोल में चांद के।
ठीक कह रहे हैं। ये भी एक कारण है कि सारी दुनिया की निगाहें इस पर है, क्योंकि जो यहाँ से इनपुट्स आएंगी, जो यहाँ से चित्र, जहाँ से इन्फ्लुएंसेस ड्रॉ होंगी, वो न केवल भारत के लिए बल्कि सभी देशों के लिए पहली बार इस प्रकार की जानकारी पर्याप्त उनके उपलब्ध की जाएगी। और साउथ पोल का ये भी महत्व है कि चूंकि वहाँ क्रेटर्स हैं, पानी के वहाँ उपस्थिति ज्यादा मात्रा में होने की संभावना है, तो उससे कुछ हाइड्रोजन को लेकर के, ऑक्सीजन को लेकर के जो हमारे प्रयोग होंगे, तो कहीं ना कहीं मानव जीवन की संभावना के साथ भी प्रत्यक्ष रूप से कुछ ना कुछ संबंध रखते हैं। तो ये एक बहुत एक बड़ा दिलचस्प एक आगे का जो हमारा सफर रहेगा, बड़ा दिलचस्प रहेगा। हालांकि सबसे पहली बार चांद की धरती पर मानव उतारने वाला देश था अमेरिका, नील आर्मस्ट्रांग, सन 1969 में, और वहां वो टहल करके आए थे, उसकी फिल्म भी बनाई गई थी तब, लेकिन उन्होंने नहीं देखा। तो हमारे चंद्रयान को वो दृश्य दिखाई देते हैं जो दूसरे वो देशों से गए हुए मानव को भी दिखाई नहीं देते। तो ये एक तरह की भारत की मूल क्षमता का भी एक प्रमाण है।
जी बिल्कुल। तो पर सर ये 23 तारीख को उम्मीद है कि 24 को उम्मीद है सर?
नहीं, 23 को, और लगभग अभी समय भी तय किया गया है 5:30 या 35 मिनट के भीतर। अगर लास्ट मिनट कोई शेड्यूल में तब्दीली हो तो वो दूसरी बात है, लेकिन अभी तक वही तय है।
जी, आप तो इसरो के सारे टॉप लीडर्स का जो साइंटिस्ट हैं उनसे संपर्क में हैं, तो उनकी तरफ से क्या अब तक जो कुछ हुआ है बिल्कुल एकदम प्रिसिशन की तरफ हुआ है, थोड़ा भी डिविएशन नहीं?
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं है। और जो कि हमारे जितने भी फॉर्मर चेयरमैन हैं, डॉक्टर के राधाकृष्णन, डॉक्टर किरण कुमार, सब मिलजुल करके इसरो की ये खासियत है कि ये एक परिवार की तरह काम करता है।
So Dr. Jitendra Singh saying everybody is involved. Past directors are also involved. They are being consulted regularly, and so far it's all going as per plan. And the belief, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the confidence. The belief is that this time around the landing will be without any incident. It will be as normal as setting down a helicopter in bright sunny weather. That's the kind of confidence that is being espoused by the scientists at ISRO. Let's wish them all the best, the mission directors, the entire team, and let's wish Bharat all the very best that we work on that front. Shifting attention. Yes, we've changed this and moving attention to this very interesting, intriguing report which we thought we must share with you here on this edition of The Right Stand. Drugs, darknet, deception. The 3 Ds which are perhaps a huge cause for concern for us. We may have data privacy, we may have data protection, but what about those people who are using this privilege to try and push poison into society? That's the big challenge. The internet carries many applications, services including social media, electronic mail, mobile applications, multiplayer, online games, internet telephony, file sharing and streaming media. They carry all of it, many more. It's used as a source of knowledge, of enabling, empowering people, humanity, and also connecting the world through technology. But the internet, nearly 74% of it is dark, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know about it and we don't know what's going on, and there's a lot of aji-baji. This service today becoming a hub for drug trafficking, drug purchase, marketing, selling. It's become a market. It's become a darknet drugs market. A recent report by India Future Foundation reveals that the dark web and instant messaging services such as Telegram and other platforms are being rampantly used for drug trafficking. The report reveals that dark web and Telegram give easy access to drugs like LSD, heroin and cocaine. Let's try and look at the data. The dark web is a hidden part of the internet that's used to carry out illegal activities due to its anonymity and encryption features. The India Future Foundation, and this is the data report, highlights the convergence of the dark web and Telegram as a new challenge for law enforcement, saying they operate via hidden websites or marketplaces. Now, how they operate? What they also do is dark web is accessed via specific softwares like Tor, virtual marketplace for buying, selling of drugs. It provides for some protection for buyers and sellers. And online markets work like e-commerce platforms. Transactions are done via cryptocurrency, so it's difficult to trace the end receiver. Includes reviews, ratings, customer service. Transactions via cryptocurrency, like I said, like bitcoins are also used. Crypto increases the level of privacy of transactions. Let's tell you how encrypted platforms, social media messaging platforms which guarantee you your privacy are being used as quote-unquote an advantage as per the report. Confidential chats, self-destruction of the messages, they evade scrutiny from law enforcement agencies, difficult to track, can establish private groups, illegal operations can run conveniently, and Telegram also helps, platforms like Telegram also help traffickers in avoiding detection. Sellers work out deals and transact businesses, and that's how this dark web functions. We'll try and explain you through a flow chart. Let's try and look at it on the flow chart. How does it work? So there's an online marketplaces which are accessed. Postal or private couriers are there, the purchasers, and of course the dealers. So what happens is you use the encrypted platforms, you use the darknet to place the order, push the order and make the payment. You have postal or private couriers who send it to the purchasers. You have the dealers, the virtual currency kiosks, and of course money launderers and traffickers. So they all use the technology, they use the internet and platforms that give you privacy to poison society. And this is rampant in India, ladies and gentlemen. Recently, the Narcotics Control Bureau did bust two of the biggest or most highest star rated, 4-star and 5-star rated such services on the darknet. And they also caught huge amounts of LSD. They believe there are 3 such outfits. They will get the third one too. But this is not going to end here. So when technology, which is supposed to be a boon, turns into a bane, what do? Let's go across to Dr. G. Srikumar Menon, former Director General, National Academy of Customs, Excise and Narcotics. And Kanishk Gaur is also with us, cybersecurity expert and founder of India Future Foundation. So Kanishk, first to you, it's quite exhaustive, this entire research that you've done. But there is a very interesting term that you've coined. It's called the Silk Road. So take us through this whole concept of Silk Road.
Thank you, Anand. So what we have seen is, like we have e-commerce marketplaces, similarly on the dark web, we have got marketplaces where you can buy and sell drugs. Now these marketplaces have been evading law enforcement agencies, not only in India but globally. But lately we have seen there has been increased use of these marketplaces for selling and buying drugs, not only within India but outside India. So imagine you are somewhere outside India and you want to supply these drugs to somebody in India. These marketplaces are there. You can make the payment via cryptocurrencies like a Bitcoin or a Ethereum, and you can have this purchase and you can just buy it off the shelf. You will know what is the identity of the person from whom you are buying, because the dark web allows anonymity on both sides. So the buyer doesn't know who the seller is and the seller doesn't know who the buyer is. Now in this scenario, if we don't have intelligence agencies tracking the dark web, it is very difficult to find out who are the actors who are behind this. And this is done in an organized manner today. So what is the need of the hour is to have bodies like Narcotics Control Bureau and other law enforcement agencies keep a strong track of the dark web to see how these channels are working and monitor them. Plus, what is happening is a lot of this syndicate is moving not only from dark web, but it goes to messaging platforms such as Telegram, which offers complete anonymity, right? And you have disappearing messages where if somebody has sent a message, the message is not available. So the whole mafia is today operating using dark web and Telegram channels. And we have seen that increasingly more websites are giving people links from dark web to become part of Telegram groups and channels, where people can be anonymous on Telegram as well. So you don't need a mobile number today to be on Telegram. You can just have an email ID and you can be on Telegram and communicate with others. So the interesting part here is that today Telegram is turning out to be a platform which is propagating drugs and allowing people to sell and work in syndicates.
But G. Srikumar Menonji, if the darknet is being used so openly, so it need not be only for drugs, for other things too, and we are seeing that increasingly when we are catching these fundamentalists and these radicals. But when it comes to drugs, you can bust one network. What's the guarantee that they won't set up shop again? And how do you draw this line? Where do you draw the line between my right to privacy, my right to enjoy conversations which will not be in public domain, and stopping entities who are using this privilege as a means to poison society?
Good evening, Anand. Thank you. I saw the brochure that you had prepared. Let me first of all congratulate you and your team, and I think Mr. Kanishk also was involved in that preparation.
Well, it is his work. It is his foundation's work. We have just decided to put it there on national television. So it is Kanishk and his team who have done all the hard work.
Yeah. It's a superb report, very, very exhaustive. I don't think even any of our enforcement agencies has prepared such a report. Congratulations, Kanishk. Having said that, let me invite your attention to what the International Narcotics Control Board report of 2022 says. It says India is one of the most frequently listed countries in the world which is searched for darknet web transactions involving drugs. And according to their estimate, India has about 19 lakh amphetamine type stimulant users. And as per their figures, up to 2018, cocaine was also very high on the search list. Now, having said that, Anand, you should also appreciate that this is a very, very complex exercise completely different from the normal enforcement work that you do, because you need 24/7 tracking of all these dark websites. For that, you require a big dedicated team, number one. Number two, simultaneously, you should have field operatives in readiness to go and strike. Now, this is a very, very, very complicated exercise. I mean, synchronizing both these two entirely different and diametrically opposite things.
Right.
And you must also not forget that most of the darknet sites,
Right.
they operate only for a very short duration of time. After they disappear, they simply disappear. So, and then another point is cryptocurrencies are not illegal. See, they are legal in many countries. So, just because somebody has done a cryptocurrency transaction, it doesn't mean that there is some illegality in it.
Correct.
But when it involves drugs, it is a different kind of ball game altogether. But having said that, my very great concern is about the number of drug traffickers who are getting released on technicalities. In fact, today, Delhi High Court, August 17, 2023, if you see, 2 judgments have come out where they have gone because of the improper preparation of the seizure documents. See, these documents have been prepared by specialized agencies. And if they commit such cardinal mistake, see, it is not a very complicated thing that we are talking of.
Correct.
In fact, if you go to those judgments, it is very, very embarrassing. I don't know how anybody would justify that kind of functioning. But all over the country, in fact, if you see the statistics, 90% of the PIT NDPS Act, that is the Preventive Detention Act's arrests have been made, and they have all been released on technicalities. Of course, technicalities, I am not in agreement with what the court's perception is, because my article is also live on your website.
Yeah.
When I have said that, mere technicalities like not giving the document in time, failure to give a translation copy, or not considering the representation, these are all very minor infractions, and the court should also take a lenient view because the affected people are in thousands and lakhs.
Correct. But the other thing is, Kanishk, if cryptocurrency is legal, so just like trading in cash is, trading in anywhere is, and if you use it for the wrong means, then you're wrong. But there are also a huge number of buyers who are getting on board. That means dealers will only enter a market and they will thrive only if there is an active market for it consumption. That's also a concern. How are these people getting onto the darknet so easily? How are they trading, transacting there so easily? Is there any way to curb this?
So it's very difficult to find out on the dark web who is transacting for what purpose. Whether he is buying drugs, whether he is buying arms and ammunition, or he is buying something else. Because catching the money trail, it's very difficult. And today we have platforms which allow people to invest in cryptocurrencies by getting a simple wallet, right? And you can get the wallet created and buy, sell any kind of cryptocurrencies and use them. Only thing the financial ministry, the Ministry of Finance is monitoring is how much profit are you making, and you are supposed to pay tax. But the whole aspect of using it for any kind of illegal activities, whether it is, buying drugs, selling drugs, or even creating a marketplace on the dark web for letting such transactions happen, nobody is monitoring. So what is needed now is stronger monitoring mechanisms and more power to bodies like Narcotics Control Bureau, not only to track and monitor in the offline, the physical world, but monitor transactions on dark web and also some of these messaging platforms, right? A lot of these messaging platforms do not share intelligence with Indian law enforcement agencies when they reach out, right? Be it location, what kind of information is being communicated, all of that is anonymized today. So that's something which is the need of the hour, and our own law enforcement agencies need to be trained technically to handle such cases.
Right.
A lot of times when cases are presented in the court, it is difficult for people who don't understand technology to explain the legal recourse mechanisms or how the evidence have been collated to the judiciary. So the presenting of the evidence in the court and the acceptance of that's which is the need of the hour. So more technical evidence is presented, and whatever forensic investigation has been carried out, that stands in the court. We also need to tighten our IT laws. We have come up with a data protection bill, but we need to tighten our IT laws to ensure there is strict punishment. More people are actually behind bars, because people who get behind some of these are today just been using old laws. So we have seen that laws have changed.
So it's taken time. DPDP is in place, but there are going to be comprehensive acts that will come in the following months. That's the assurance we had from our from Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekharji when I asked him about these laws and how are we going to tighten it further. And he said that there is a comprehensive architecture and framework that's being made to secure our digital data space and also punish the offenders. Kanish Kaur, great work on the research and the report. And Srikumar Menon, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Getting a move on, ladies and gentlemen, to the political debate of the day. And the story comes from the northeast of our country, the state of Assam, which is now, after so many years, ladies and gentlemen, after so many years, the president yesterday signed on a document which approved delimitation of constituencies, Lok Sabha and Assembly constituencies in Assam. And this is a significant milestone that's been achieved, and that's what Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma actually tweeted, and I've got the tweet here. He says, today the Honorable President has approved the delimitation notification issued by the Election Commission of India for Assam. A significant milestone has been achieved in the history of Assam. Jai Ma Bharati, Jai Ai Assam, that is Mother Assam. And this is the Rajpatra that he has actually tweeted. This is signed the Gazette of India, and it's signed by the Honorable President herself, where she says that the notification, Ministry and Law and Justice, go ahead with delimitation in the Assembly constituencies and Lok Sabha constituencies of Assam. Immediately, it's triggered a big political fight, a furor. Let's dive into the entire political debate with Gaurav Gogoi of the Congress party saying that the government is just rushing into a decision which has been pending. Mind you, the last time delimitation happened in Assam was way back in 1976, after which multiple suggestions were made for delimitation, but it was vehemently opposed by political parties at different times. Even now, what we are seeing is that there has been even now what we see is that there has been opposition coming in from the Congress party and the AIUDF. Let's try and look at some of the reasons and some of the aspects that have come to the fore on this delimitation exercise, what this implies and what this means. Delimitation process is based on the 2001 census. This is the key facet. Village, lowest administration unit in rural areas, and ward, the lowest administration unit in urban areas. Assembly seats for SCs increased to 9 from 8, and there are also assembly seats for STs that have increased to 19 from 16. Using the 2001 census data is yet another major concern. Using this 2001 census data, opposition has challenged the EC's methodology in Supreme Court and saying that when the matter is there, it's being challenged, this methodology is there, why push for the notification? That's the first question that's been asked. Why the rush is what's been asked. The other point is that Assam comes under the entire NRC. There was a need for doing NRC or a registry of citizens because the brazen influx of Bangladeshis, Rohingyas or non-Indians into Assam, and that needed to be understood. There is also the political ramification, what this delimitation would do or what's being claimed. We should have Sanju Verma, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us any moment now, but we have Champak Kalita, spokesperson of the AIUDF, joining us. Namaste and Jai Hind. What is the biggest opposition that the Congress and the AIUDF have to this move for delimitation and the notification being signed by the President?
देखिए, आई एम नॉट कंफर्टेबल इन इंग्लिश.
जी आप हिंदी में बोलिए.
हिंदी में बोल सकते?
हाँ जी, बोलिए.
जी. देखिए, ये जो राष्ट्रपति जी द्वारा ये जो डिलिमिटेशन का साइन किया गया, इसका फाइनल किया गया, इसको ये एक सीए के बाद असम के लोगों को एक बार फिर धोखा दिया गया. ये डिलिमिटेशन के नाम पे धोखा दिया, इससे पहले सीए में धोखा दिया, और खास तौर पे जो मूल निवासी है असम के, जो आपका रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटीज जो है, जो मजहबी अकलियत है, जो मूल निवासी है, उनको धोखा दिया गया। उनका सीट आप 31 से लेके
आप कह रहे हैं असम के मूल निवासी आज असम में माइनॉरिटी है? नहीं, आप कह रहे हैं असम के मूल निवासी आज असम में माइनॉरिटी हैं, ये कैसे हो गया?
नहीं, असम के जो मूल निवासी में से एक इम्पोर्टेबल निवासी है, मूल निवासी है असम के रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी।
हाँ,
उनका 9 सीट घट गया है। इंडिजिनियस पीपल का 9 सीट घट गया है, और ये टोटली आपका आरएसएस बीजेपी का ब्लूप्रिंट है, और जिसको एग्जीक्यूट इलेक्शन कमीशन ने किया।
वो जो इंडिजिनस पीपल हैं जिनका 9 सीट घट गया है, उनका आरएसएस और बीजेपी से उनका क्या बैर है?
नहीं, वो रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी है ना वो लोग।
तो रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी होने से क्या हो गया? वो SC ST में वो किसी भी क्लासिफिकेशन में नहीं आते हैं। वो उन 5 मूल उन 5 मूल इंडिजिनस लोगों में नहीं आते जिनकी व्याख्या हेमंत बिस्व शर्मा ने की हुई है कि इन लोगों को हम रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटीज में से इन सेक्ट्स को हम इंडिजिनस मानते हैं और इनके प्रोटेक्शन के लिए हम काम करेंगे।
नहीं, आप दूसरी लाइन पे जा रहे हो, आपका कोई एजेंडा होगा, अलग बात है।
अरे मैं कौन सी लाइन पे जा रहा हूँ? मैं तो आप ही की लाइन पे जा रहा हूँ। एजेंडा आपका क्या है मैं पूछ रहा हूँ। क्या असम के पूरे असम की आप बात करते हैं कि एक पर्टिकुलर तबके की आप बात करते हैं?
नहीं,
अगर आप कल पावर में आ गए, तो आप पूरे असम के सब लोगों के लिए काम करेंगे, पूरे स्टेट के लिए काम करेंगे कि एक पर्टिकुलर यूनिट के लिए ही काम करेंगे?
आसाम को फिर से धोखा दिया गया।
कैसे धोखा दिया गया? सीए का आसाम से क्या लेना देना है? नहीं, सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2019 का आसाम से क्या लेना देना है? असम का लेना देना एनआरसी से है। एनआरसी तो अभी भी लागू नहीं हुआ।
आपको मालूम ही नहीं है। आप नेशनल टीवी में आके बैठ के मुंह उठा के आ गए, आपको मालूम ही नहीं है।
हाँ, करेक्ट। ये आप अपने आप को कह रहे हैं कि मुझे कह रहे हैं?
क्यों लेन-देन नहीं है? क्यों लेन-देन नहीं? आपको मालूम ही नहीं है आसाम के बारे में? फिर कुछ
नहीं, नेशनल रजिस्ट्री ऑफ सिटीजन्स का आसाम से लेना देना है। सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2019 का आसाम से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। ये आपको नहीं पता है? आप पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, आपको नहीं पता है कि दोनों में कितना अंतर है? संजू वर्मा, देखिए मैं तो मुंह उठा के चला आया हूं। मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि सीए 2019 अलग है, नेशनल रजिस्ट्री ऑफ सिटीजन्स अलग है। मुझे नहीं पता है, मुझे पता ही नहीं है। संपर्क कालिता जी को सब पता है।
नहीं पता मुझे, लेकिन आपको थोड़ा
I need my time to speak.
Yeah, go ahead, Sanjay.
him. Thank you, Anand ji. First and foremost, I just want to say this, that this entire delimitation exercise, it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, led by Justice Chandrayaan, clearly said that it will not intervene in the Election Commission of India's decision to undertake the delimitation process. But yes, if at a later stage the opposition parties have any specific issues, the apex court will hear that. So point number 1, this indirectly has the sanction of the Supreme Court. The Election Commission, via Article 3, 24, 25, 26, 27, has the powers to give notification pertaining to delimitation. So you cannot question this, because Election Commission at the end of the day is an autonomous constitutional authority. Point number 3, the delimitation exercise has been validated by no less than the first citizen of India, the President Draupadi Murmu in this case. Now the most important thing, we are all aware that the last delimitation exercise, Anand, happened in 76 based on the 1971 census. Now this delimitation exercise has happened, I admit, based on the last
2001
census of 2001, but people who have been saying 2001 का census क्यों लिया? So let me tell you that the delimitation exercise based on 2001 census is valid under Article 82 and under Article 170 of the Constitution. आपको कोई दिक्कत है तो जाकर संविधान का
दिक्कत तो ऑपोजिशन को ये है संजू जी, कि ऑपोजिशन का ये कहना है कि ये आरएसएस बीजेपी का एजेंडा है अगेंस्ट मूल निवासी जो रिलीजियस माइनॉरिटी है। आपने उनकी 9 सीटें छीन ली हैं और उनका तो आरोप यह है कि आज तो सारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस को आपने घेर लिया है, सब आपके इशारों पे नाचते हैं।
आनंद, वन थिंग विच योर ऑडियंस नीड्स टू नो कि असम की ओबीसी पॉपुलेशन लगभग 25% है, द दलित पॉपुलेशन इज 7.15%, द ट्राइबल पॉपुलेशन इज 12.45% एंड द रेस्ट इज जनरल कैटेगरी।
तो ये basis which census 2001 2011?
This is based on the 2011 census.
Okay.
I will make that very clear.
Ji.
But I need to make one point very clear, that one of the big reasons for undertaking this delimitation exercise was to ensure that the Dalit population of 7.15% and tribal population of 12.45%, which means that Dalits plus tribals together account for 19.6, almost 20% of Assam's population, and they were not well represented in assembly constituencies, ACs, or in parliamentary constituencies, PCs. And I'll just tell you one of the biggest changes, which I think is very pro-Dalit and which is very pro-Adivasis / pro-tribals. Earlier, Dalits had 8 ACs, 8 assembly constituencies. That has been raised to 9. पार्लियामेंट्री कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी एक रिजर्व की गई है शेड्यूल कास्ट के लिए, दलित्स के लिए, शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स के लिए नाउ 19 असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज हैव बीन रिजर्व्ड एंड 2 लोकसभा पार्लियामेंट्री कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज हैव बीन रिजर्व्ड। माय सिंपल पॉइंट इज दिस कि जिस राज्य में लगभग 20% संख्या दलित्स और आदिवासी की है, वहां पर इस असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज एंड लोकसभा सीट्स में this 20% is not given adequate representation, and if the delimitation exercise has corrected a historical wrong, तो कांग्रेस के पेट में इतना दर्द क्यों हो रहा है?
नहीं, उनका दर्द ये है कि आपने ये सीटें जो दी है 20% आबादी के लिए जो आप कह रही हैं, वो सीटें किसी और से छीन कर दी हैं। वही तो चंपक कालिता जी कह रहे थे अभी तक। चंपक जी क्या कहेंगे आप?
मैं पहली बात ये कहता हूं, आसाम में दलित नहीं है। ये मोहतरमा इंडिया का पॉलिटिक्स में वो दलित का वो ले रहा है, लेकिन आसाम में कोई दलित नहीं है। पहली बात, ये गलत बयानी कर रहा है नेशनल टीवी में बैठ के। और दूसरी बात, अगर 26 में डिलिमिटेशन होना ही है सारा इंडिया में, जिसमें इंक्रीज होगा, सीटें बढ़ेगी, तो एक इलेक्शन के लिए इतना बड़ा टैक्स पेयर का इतना बड़ा पैसा क्यों बर्बाद करना है? और दूसरी बात है, डिलिमिटेशन होता है रैशनिंग के लिए कि आपका संख्या, वोट की संख्या मिल जाए। पहले आसाम में क्या था, एक कंस्टिट्यूएंसी में 97,000 था, एक कंस्टिट्यूएंसी में 4,02,000 था, और अब भी ऐसा हो गया कि एक कंस्टिट्यूएंसी 2 लाख के नीचे है, एक कंस्टिट्यूएंसी 3 लाख के ऊपर है। तो डिलिमिटेशन का फायदा क्या है? और इन्होंने जो पहले डिलिमिटेशन होता था डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन के जरिए, अभी चुनाव आयोग ने खुद किया है, इसीलिए उन्होंने ABC कैटेगरी बनाया है वो बर्थ कंट्रोल का। ये इनका काम नहीं है, इसलिए चुनाव आयोग कभी भी निष्पक्ष नहीं है। ये पहले एक बार बोला था सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने CBI के लिए, जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का तोता है, और ये भी तो अभी तोता मैंने सब बन गया है।
उधर क्या है ना सर, चंपक कालिता जी, एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी के बारे में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा था जब केज पैरेट है, अभी तो एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी के बारे में एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी कह रही है। तो आप एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के स्पोक्स पर्सन होकर कह रहे हैं, तो उसको भी टेक इट विद अ पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट। लेकिन आपने कुछ आरोप लगाए हैं बीजेपी पर, वो भी संजू वर्मा जी पे, कि वो बिना जाने नेशनल टीवी पे आके बोल रही है। तो संजू वर्मा जी बोलिए।
Thank you. अभी चंपक, प्लीज, I did not interrupt him, आनंद, this is not fair. चंपक कालिता जी, मैंने आपको नहीं टोका, प्लीज। आपने यहाँ पर संजू वर्मा एक काम जो कभी नहीं करती है, वो है बिना होमवर्क के आना, वो भी आनंद नरसिम्हन के शो पर तो बिल्कुल नहीं। आप ये वेबसाइट पर जाइए, इस वेबसाइट का नाम है censusindia2011.com, और censusindia2011.com में असम की पूरी पॉपुलेशन हिस्ट्री, सेक्स रेशियो, कंपोजिशन ऑफ शेड्यूल कास्ट एंड शेड्यूल ट्राइब पॉपुलेशन, सब कुछ डिटेल में दिया है। और मैं दोबारा रिपीट करती हूं, ये मैंने censusindia2011.com की वेबसाइट से निकाला है। 85.9% ऑफ असम पॉपुलेशन लिव्स इन अर्बन एरियाज, 14.1% lives in rural areas, and I repeat, 7.15% of the population is scheduled castes / Dalits, and 12.45% is scheduled tribes / Adivasis. तो मैं झूठ नहीं बोल रही, मैंने आपको मेरा सोर्स भी बताया है। And I want to just say one more thing. Please, let me finish. Let me finish. Anand, this is not fair. Anand, this is not fair.
नहीं, एक मिनट। अब 2011 के सेंसस का दोष आप बीजेपी पे मत दीजिए, क्योंकि 2011 के सेंसस में बीजेपी नहीं थी वहां। जो आपके अलायंस पार्टनर्स हैं, जो आपके पार्टनर्स हैं वहां पर, वही थे जो जिनकी पहले सरकार हुआ करती थी, उनके अंडर ये हुआ है। तब आपने इसको चैलेंज नहीं किया। उन्होंने क्या कहा? उन्होंने कहा शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब / दलित्स। उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा। तो वो पढ़ के बोला या संजू जी,
दलित क्यों बोला?
अरे जो उसमें सेंसस वेबसाइट में लिखा है वो पढ़ा है सर। आप जाके यूपीए से लड़ाई कीजिए। आप गौरव गोगोई जी से पूछिए कि उस वक्त नहीं, अच्छा रुके संजू वर्मा, आप गलत पूछ पकड़ रहे हैं, सॉरी गलत लाइन पकड़ रहे हैं आप। आर्ग्यूमेंट कुछ और है। आर्ग्यूमेंट डिलिमिटेशन से आपको तकलीफ क्यों है? 1776 के बाद इस स्टेट में डिलिमिटेशन नहीं हुआ, तकलीफ क्यों है? वही क्वेश्चन है। लेट संजू वर्मा कंप्लीट एंड देन आई विल गिव यू वन फाइनल वर्ड, चंपक जी। या
Anand, the other very interesting thing is that, as per Article 330, Article 330 and Article 332 of the Constitution, हमारे संविधान में ये प्रावधान है, under Article 330 and under Article 332 of the Constitution, that the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and other marginalized communities need to be given adequate representation in the Vidhan Sabha and in the Lok Sabha. I just want to ask कि जिस राज्य में लगभग 20% शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट और शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब पॉपुलेशन है, और यदि बीजेपी ने एक हिस्टोरिक रॉन्ग को राइट करते हुए अभी 9 सीटें रिजर्व की हैं शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट के लिए और 19 सीट्स रिजर्व की हैं विधानसभा में शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स के लिए, तो व्हाई इज गौरव गोगोई rattled and he says that this will impact the minorities? Why should he be rattled that it will impact minorities? Has he forgotten that 40-50 years back the marginal the minority population in Assam was less than 16-17%? Today in more than 20 districts the population of minorities, and I will name them Muslims, is more than 43 to 44%.
तो minorities कैसे हो गए? No, how are they? No. Forget the demographic. They are no longer minorities. They are actually majority. The minorities are the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. The scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes are the minorities in Assam. If the data that you are currently saying is wrong. अच्छा चंपक कालिता जी, मेरे पास समय कम है, मैं आपसे बस ये पूछ रहा हूँ, क्या scheduled caste, scheduled tribes को नहीं मिलना चाहिए representation? 20% जो population है उनको representation नहीं मिलना चाहिए, आप ये कह रहे हैं?
100% मिलनी चाहिए। और आज वर्ल्ड का सबसे बड़ा डेमोक्रेसी में इलेक्शन कमीशन का क्या रोल था डिलिमिटेशन में? आज से 50 साल बाद जब रिसर्च होगा, स्टडी होगा, तब हिंदुस्तान और इलेक्शन कमीशन दोनों को शर्म से सर झुकाना पड़ेगा।
नहीं, पर वो ठीक है, आप कह रहे हैं 20% जो आबादी है उसको रिप्रेजेंटेशन मिलना चाहिए, तो फिर आप डिलिमिटेशन के खिलाफ नहीं। डिलिमिटेशन किसने किया उसमें आपको तकलीफ है? आप ये कह रहे हैं कि डिलिमिटेशन करो, रिप्रेजेंटेशन करो, लेकिन किसने डिलिमिटेशन किया वहां प्रॉब्लम है आपको। अरे आई एम नॉट putting my words in your mouth. It is your mouth. It is your words. You just said it. You just said it, sir. I am just trying to confirm. I am just trying to confirm जो मैंने सुना, जो आपने कहा, दोनों सेम है कि नहीं है? Anyway, चलिए इस डिबेट को अभी मुझे विराम देना पड़ेगा. I have run out of time. Sanju Verma and Champak Kalita ji, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're compelled to take a very short break here on the right stand. When we come back, we turn the spotlight towards Himachal Pradesh. CNN News 18 is on ground getting you details, visuals and updates of the devastation on ground. Heart goes out to the Himachalis there and also many other people in the hill regions across various states, because it's unprecedented rainfall, ladies and gentlemen, an unprecedented number of landslides. Stay with us.
इन समय आप लोगों के लिए मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफेक्टेड है आपका, आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं तीन जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बनाया वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जहाँ बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे,
हाँ जी।
तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं, तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई और पत्थर, इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला। वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं, तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया। फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है। और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो, और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे। होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we're understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll. Roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular, I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see. So this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that, this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's a lucky, it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how cloudburst which took place in Mandi on 13th of August has resulted in something like this. You can see how this entire hill has collapsed, and in fact the landslide was reported in the early hours of the 13th of August around 6 a.m. In fact, you can see from up to that very point that cloudburst took place, and after that cloudburst the water gushed in with so much speed that it got all these rocks with it, and in fact this is a scary scenario playing out over here, destroying many homes and in fact affecting around 150 families. This entire area has been classified as a red zone by the authorities. Yes, the authorities has given a red zone, has marked this area as red zone, but as per the locals, nobody paid visit to this very site. This is Zukain Panchayat, and in fact this is in Mandi town, and you can see how the situation has turned back. The water is continuously coming down from up the hill, and in fact it's going down there to that very spot. I'll show you the visuals from that place as well. You can see how situation is bad over here in Mandi. This was the home which was actually damaged by these very flash floods which occurred due to that very cloud burst. The kind of destruction which has happened in Himachal Pradesh, you can see all around me. This is what had happened on the 13th of August when a particular cloudburst took place here in Mandi, and in fact this is the Zukain Panchayat area which has been worst affected by the flash floods which occurred and washed away many homes. This is the trail of destruction which has left behind now, and this in particular happened on the morning of 13th of August when a cloudburst took place on the upper hill area, and after that the water gushed in with so much speed that it washed away whatever it had in its way. Still there is a lot of damage which is still here, and this entire panchayat has been vacated, and in fact now this is the red zone area. No one from outside is actually allowed to enter this space. There were 2 homes which were seriously affected by this very flash flood which occurred on the 13th of August. Now this was the very home which was in the passageway of this entire flash flood, and you can see how bad situation is. Today is the 3rd day, and still there are a lot of stones which are present inside, there are a lot of mud which is present inside, and these are all locals and the family members who are actually helping each other in actually carrying out this operation of emptying this space. We are traveling through Himachal Pradesh to get you the ground reality. What is actually happening in the state after those flash floods and heavy rains which actually lashed parts of the Himachal Pradesh. In particular, there are 3-4 areas which are worst affected. The first one is Shimla, the second one is Mandi, and right now we are coming to you from Mandi, and I just want to show you how these rains have destroyed this entire area. This in particular is Sarka Ghat area, and this very road actually leads towards the bus stand of Sarka Ghat, and in fact these were the small villages or small townships which were actually connecting to the main part of this very place. Now you can see around all the roads are washed away, and there is only mud on the ground. Both the areas, both the sides of the road, one side is the cliff where there is barely any space to actually drive the car as well, and in fact there are hardly any people I can see around this very place, and on the other side are those homes which are actually hanging on the cliff. You can see these are all the vehicles who've been stuck, the vehicles which are stuck at this very point for a very long time now, because what we're given to understand at this very space, the incident happened on the 14th of August, and after that this is the condition over here, and today is 17th, it's almost 3 days, and on the other side of this very road you can see how landslide has affected this entire area.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. The India alliance has already run into its first teething trouble. The Congress party and the Aam Aadmi party are already seeing differences regarding allocation of seats in Delhi, in Punjab and in other states. Now, although after a statement by a Delhi Congress leader, which was subsequently withdrawn, she made the statement that they've been asked to prepare to fight in all 7 seats. That statement, of course, was subsequently withdrawn by this leader in question. The fact is that the Aam Aadmi party has also now hit out at the Congress, saying that if this is going to be the spirit in which negotiations are going to happen for the India